Hello, everyone. Welcome to Small Biz Tips. Guys, I am super excited. I had a chance to meet this young lady at a mastermind a few weeks ago, and she blew my mind. Her story alone was like, wow. And what she's doing with kids, I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. That's genius. So I had to bring it on. Kayla, what's up?
Hey, I'm so glad we met. I was being a little introvert that night and you reached out and talked to me. So,
Yeah. I was like, yo, how you doing? And you're like, who? What?
all right.
So thank you for jumping on. Really appreciate it. Before we start, who is Kayla?
Kayla, I go by the model maker and I primarily teach parents the right way to get their kids started in paid acting and modeling. So, how to get agents, what that process looks like, and especially how to avoid some of the scams that are out there.
Wow. Let's start there, right? The model maker. I never heard that before. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
So how'd you get into that? Let's start that.
Yeah, so I always wanted to be an actress and model myself. When I was
Hmm.
younger, I would tell my parents, like, hey, this is something I want to do. And they didn't really have much to offer other than that they didn't know how to do it. Um,
Mm,
but it wasn't until I got out on my own. I got married young at 18 and I started dragging my poor new husband on all these auditions and these casting calls. And a lot of them turned out to be sketchy companies that were just, popping up in town, taking
mm.
money, running. So I was just determined to figure out the right way to get started. And, I started figuring that out and learning not to go to hotel auditions and that you don't pay for anything up front. And, over the years, I started booking. I've done, paid runway shows, I've done commercials. I have a little Debbie
Wow.
commercial I did. Then I started getting my kids into it. And that's where the business really got birthed. So my oldest daughter was in the movie Black Panther.
Wow. We talking about Wakanda forever.
Yes, forever. She was in the movie in 2018 when it came out, and I had so many people that were so interested in it here in Birmingham. They were, I met the mayor, and we were on every news station. We were in the newspaper.
Wow.
And to me, I was embarrassed. I was like, this is not that serious. She's only an extra. She doesn't speak, but there was a reason why they were so interested, and it's just because they didn't know how to do it. So
Mm.
I started teaching people one-on-one for $35 back then, and teaching them
Wait,
everything.
hold on. You were teaching people how to do this for 35 bucks in
35 bucks.
2018, 2019.
Yes. And to
Damn
me,
it.
first two people signed up, I tell everyone $70 changed my life because it's
Wow.
something I'd been thinking about doing was possible. And
Yeah.
that's what I needed to know is that it was possible. So people started booking left and right from their $35 appointment, and then it just grew from there.
Wow, I'm speechless because first, congratulations, right? But it also took me back when I first started back in like 2011. I put out a message out to everyone, people in my network saying that, hey, I'm gonna teach you how to use LinkedIn for 30 bucks. And I had two people signed up. And I was like, holy crap. So I know exactly how you feel because I felt that feeling years ago.
Yep.
And so I think that's amazing. Now, let me ask you this, right? From teaching them how to do this to them actually do it. What have you seen in the mindset shift from for the kid side and the parent side?
Yeah. So teaching them how to do it, it's kind of hit or miss because everyone's not going to do what they learn, right? Like they get
Yeah.
information, they're excited about it, and then they just kind of drop the ball. For the ones that were go-getters and not
Mm-hmm.
procrastinators, which I'm not knocking procrastinators because I am one. I don't DIY anything anymore. I'm just not going to do it. I have courses in my computer that I paid thousands of dollars for. I've watched 5 minutes. So, the people that actually did the work, they were getting results almost instantly.
Mm,
But what I found was that a lot of people were coming back to me and saying, "Hey, can you just do this for me? Is there
mm.
something where I can pay you to do this? I just don't have the time. I haven't gotten around to it." And for almost a year, I was telling them no. I'm like, "Oh no, girl, you can do it. Like you can do it." But in business, you always hear that whatever people are asking you for is what you
Yes.
implement. And finally, one day I was like, okay, I think I could, and I had this package I put together that was giving them everything and then some. Like I laugh so hard now when I think about that first package.
How
And
much was it?
that is because I didn't feel like it was worth it. You know what I mean? Like I paid that
Mm.
much money and I didn't feel like what I was offering was worth it. So I felt like I had to give them everything. So the price was $650 for this upgraded package. And I said, you get headshots, we'll set up your casting profiles, you'll get my course. I'll create a demo reel for you. Like all these,
Wow.
it was insane. They got like 20 things, all because I felt like if I'm charging $650, I have to give them.
Wow.
And I quickly learned that that was not the way to do that because I couldn't handle it all. But that first package that I came out with, that was more of a done for you service,
Mm-hmm.
was $650. And to my surprise, people wanted to sign up. Like they were signing up left and right. And then that became the bread and butter. And I stopped doing, one-on-one
Yeah.
appointments, $35. The VIP program became what took us over seven figures.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Now, let me ask you this, right? What shifted in your mind? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners starting out, they want to give the farm for, for that $600, right? What shifted for you to realize that, hey, I'm giving them so much value, I can charge more for this because they're gonna get such a big return from it.
Right. So I think the main thing, there's several things. The main thing I would say is all the testimonials that I was getting. So I had
Mm,
people that came to me knowing absolutely nothing. And within a couple of weeks, they're like booking Disney and Nickelodeon and, Target ads and Oshkosh, and they're making a lot more money than they paid me. So I'm like, wow, like this is really, really working. It just took me starting to believe in myself
mm,
and what I was offering and saying like these people are getting results. At the end of the day, like they came to me, I know that they knew nothing and now they have something. So,
yeah.
I think we all deal with imposter syndrome at some capacity, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like it was black and white on paper that these people are getting results. And then also, I think making more money put me in a different mind frame where
Mm,
it was like other people can afford it because we always put ourselves in their shoes. Like
exactly.
it's hard to sell an $18,000 package if I can't buy an $18,000 package, right? So
Mm,
when it was 650 at first, I couldn't afford to pay anybody 650. It's like, why would they pay me 650 if I can't pay it? But when I start making more money and my bank account looked different, now it's like, girl, you can't pay 650. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, 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 yeah.
put ourselves where they are and we think everyone's in the same financial situation as us. So now, I have a package that's 2,500. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not something that I think is difficult for people to buy because it's not difficult for me to buy. So I think that was the other shift, is just me being in a different place financially.
Wow. Wow. You said a lot here. I think a lot of people can relate, especially if they're starting out. This is their first business and they're never really, they never been at that level before. So they don't know what to charge or how to charge. Now, let me ask you this. Throughout that journey, what has been some of your mistakes beside this one? Or what other mistakes have you made that you're like, oh, I could,
All of them. I mean, I'm still making mistakes. Like there's so many. I would say not having your foundational stuff straight. Like I just started another company on the 1st of July and I'm making sure like everything is done from the beginning. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
LLC until like 2 years in with the last company. Taking out loans that were predatory loans that I didn't really,
Mm.
those MCA loans are absolutely
Yes, the MCA loans, they
do
kill
not
you.
recommend. I think I'm still paying one of those off. Like, I'm just honest. Taking the money that we were making and spending it on things that weren't in the business. So, like,
Mm. Talking
you
about it's a write-off or
exactly,
expense.
exactly. So, just spending a lot of unnecessary money. Now I know that it needs to go back into the business in order
Exactly.
for you stifle everything. Taking on too many people at once. There's a point in
Mm-hmm.
everything was about to come crumbling down because everyone was complaining. The wait times are super long. And I'm like,
Mm.
I took too many people in and we don't have the capacity to handle it. So just making sure that as you scale, you have the people on board to be able to handle everything that you're doing. Like I just
Le-
hired third VA today. So I have like 6 people on my team now.
Nice.
Another part-time VA because I saw that my team was being stressed out and I want them to be able to produce at a high level without that
Nice.
stress of not being able to handle everything.
Let's talk about that, right? When it comes to hiring, what has been, your process to hire the right people for the right roles?
Well, that's another thing I was doing terribly wrong. So my pastor, first of all, he's amazing. I always have to shout him out on everything I'm on. So Stephen A. Davis, look him up. But he said something so interesting to me in a business class that the church held. He said, people that come to you looking for a job are not necessarily the people that you want to hire. He said he always goes after people that are already doing something in excellence and at a high level.
Mm.
pulls them from where they are. So like if I go to Starbucks and the girl is like just amazing, like on top of it, like super nice,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, like I want to know about you. Like I might want to hire you. He said, if they're coming to you looking for a job, then you need to be wondering why they don't already have one. Like, they're the ones that are in need of something, then there's probably a reason. But he goes after people who are already in a position
Mm,
because they're serving an excellence there. So I would hire any and everyone. You need a job, you got a job. And I was just hiring people because I needed help and I wasn't really looking
yeah.
at, do they have the skill set? Do we
Yeah.
mesh well together? What is your style of communication? And then, you know, the offboarding process would become terrible because I should have never hired them in the first place. And now it's like, okay, now I'm having to change all the passwords. That's what I'll say. My worst mistake one time,
Yes.
hired someone without changing all the passwords first. So she had
Oh,
everything. And baby girl went in there and deleted every
oh
single
my God.
email. Then she deleted them from the deleted, which is how you know she was mad.
Wow.
He deleted every single email and then deleted them from the deleted. And literally by God's grace, I still don't know how we got through that. It had to be God because I'm like, how did we get through? Like we didn't have anyone's information. I don't know how we got through it, but we
Wow.
and now I know that if I'm getting ready to fire somebody, you're getting logged out of every single
Everything. Yes.
people text me and say, hey, I must be about to be let go because I can't get into the emails. And I'm like, oh darn, I was gonna tell you at 5, it's 4:45. So I do it right before, but yeah, log those babies out. Do not let them do your business because they're mad they got fired.
I think that's a huge point. A lot of people don't talk about the firing process, right? Because sometimes the person is not the right fit for your company. They might be a great fit for somewhere else. So tell me more about, you talk about, getting rid of the password. What else do you do when it comes to firing the right way?
I mean, I've had to do it a couple times. I think I'm on my like 4th or 5th. And it's hard. Like I have always been like a people pleaser by nature. I'm super
Mm,
concerned with how people feel and I want them to be happy all the time. And like I don't even want to give my team too much at once. Like if I think of 5 things I need you to do, like I'll give you 2 here and then 1 in an hour so you don't feel overwhelmed. Like this type of personality I have. And I have to get over that as a CEO.
yeah.
Firing is one of the worst things I've ever had to do in my life. Like it's absolutely terrible. And
Mm,
I can't say that there's one way to do it. I would say be cordial and
mm-hmm.
understanding. Make sure you sign them out. Be under let them know in a nice way like what didn't work and just
Yeah.
don't make it seem like it's all on them, like it's all your fault because you were doing this. We're just not a good match and everyone's not going to
Yeah.
be a great match. So this just doesn't seem like you're a great match for the company and we wish you well. I don't have much advice on firing because it really is not fun. I would say do it like either Zoom or in person. Emailing someone is probably not
Or
the nice.
texting is not the good way to do
You're right.
it.
So texting and email is not that great, but yeah, just, take the time to
Hmm.
show your face and let them know that they are out of there.
No, understood, understood. Now let's talk more about your business. Congrats again on getting it to 7 figures. I think that's pretty awesome. Um, when you first started, because I remember you talking about, like how it was a lot of learning for you, right? So how was that process when you went from having, getting to that first 100K? When you saw you made your first 100K, how did that feel for you?
Oh my goodness. So that's the story. The 100K, like that was my goal for 2020. And
Mm-hmm.
I was so laser focused on it. I remember having it on my wall. Like I'd speak futuristically. So like every single day I would come to my office and I would see congratulations on 100K for 2020. So I had that on my wall,
Mm,
I had it on my phone, I had it everywhere. And it was December 19th, I'll never forget. And I calculated what we had done for the year, and I was at $92,000 for the year, December 19th.
wow, just 8 grand
So,
away.
I'm only 8 grand away, but at that point, I wasn't like my packages were still, I had the course that I was doing, and it was like $27, and then I had the VIP package. But at that point in time, I was only doing VIP for my city. So I hadn't gone really international with VIP yet.
Wow.
I didn't know how I would work out the photo shoot and all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't making as much back then. And I'm like, 8 grand was a lot to cover. Now I make that in a day, but 8 grand is a ton to cover. And I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, how am I going to get this done? And I know a lot of times we start to concede in our mind before we
Mm.
actually like throw in the towel. And we're like, well, maybe this isn't what I was, maybe this isn't
Yeah,
the
it
goal.
wasn't meant to be or
It
whatever.
wasn't meant to be. Maybe it's just for next year. Over $8,000. I'm like, I'm starting to concede because I don't see how I'm going to make up this ground by December 31st. And I remember I was listening to Maverick City. There's a song by Chandler Moore that I was listening to when I was sitting here literally having these thoughts. I was like, well, God, maybe it just wasn't for me. Maybe I wasn't. And literally the music stops. Like Chandler stopped singing. I'm gonna tell him the story one day. And Chandler stopped singing. He's like, some of you just need to give God your timeline. Just give him your timeline. It's not about.
Mm.
And I was like, whoa, like what? He stopped singing and said that. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna give up. Like we got 11 days, I think it is. I'm gonna get this done. So this was around the time that Clubhouse had came out.
Mm-hmm.
You remember people were getting codes to get on Clubhouse early,
Yeah.
and like so somebody had given me a code to get on Clubhouse, and I was like, let me just get on here and see like what I can do. I'm just gonna get on Clubhouse. And when I tell you Clubhouse changed the game for me, it literally led me to where I am today. Because the second I got on there and I saw what the platform was like, because I didn't know anything about it, I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
audience, and then there's one person on stage and she's talking to these people. I'm a salesperson by nature. I can sell you the shirt you have on your body. I was like, oh, this is this. And I remember turning around to my husband. I said, this is golden. He was like, what do you mean? He just goes along with anything. I said, I'm telling you, this is golden. So from December 19th, when I joined Clubhouse to
Mm-hmm.
the end of the year, when I finally made, when I hit my goal, I was on Clubhouse morning, noon, and night. Like my kids knew that when it's my turn
Really?
to get on the stage, y'all be quiet. I'm like running through the house, sliding into closets to when it's my turn to talk. I'm like, y'all shut up, turn the radio off. But what I started doing was I started getting on stages and talking about what I
Mm-hmm.
do. They'd be like, everybody introduce yourself. Hey, I'm Kayla, the model maker. And I wasn't even the model maker then. My name is Kayla Inman, and I teach people how to get started in modeling. And I had a course that I started selling. It was $27. And I would do my own rooms. And there would be,
Mm.
then there was 3, 4, 500,000 people in the room. And I
Wow.
quick tips on how to get started. I would always say, hey, you don't pay up front for a modeling agency. That perks their ears because they're like, oh my gosh, I've been paying, I've been getting scammed. So I give them the what not to do. And then I say, hey,
Yeah.
course on sale for $27. Say, y'all go ahead and grab that. But it was, I gotten down to, it was Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Presents, I ran downstairs, got back on the phone, or got back on Clubhouse. And I ended up hitting 100K on Christmas Day from
Let's
running.
go.
So I was seeing emails come in like I've never seen anything like it. Like
Sell, sell, sells. That
I
was all from
I
the
covered that
courses
8 grand
alone.
with $27 with a $27 offering. I covered the 8 grand. I
Wow.
ended up hitting 100K on Christmas Day. And then the crazier part about it is I'm so excited, hit the 100K, yay. Within the first 3 months of 2021,
Yeah.
I did 100 grand.
Jeez. Let's go.
I was in
Because
the
you build that audience.
yes. In the first quarter, I did 100K. When 12 months, it was a struggle. And then
Yeah.
I've repeated it. And then I did my first $100,000 month. And then the rest is
Congrats. Now let's talk about that, right? Because you did something that a lot of people don't do. You spend the time and you build that audience on Clubhouse so that people know you by giving them game,
yeah,
something that they never heard before. Like when you said, "Oh, don't pay for modeling up
yeah,
front, it's a scam." You're like, "What? I never heard that. I didn't know that."
right.
So I think tell us about that. Tell us about how you've been able to build an audience and you do it on social media right now. So yeah,
Yes.
give us the game on that.
So it's definitely important to always give like gems, as they call it. Like you want to give
Hmm.
valuable information that positions you as the expert. So I know this from myself being a consumer. Like there's a guy, Charles White, he's like the GOAT with business credit. But I was watching a podcast one day and he was on there talking about business credit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, is super knowledgeable. Like I'm hearing stuff that I never heard before. So my first thought isn't to do what he's telling me to do, right?
Mm.
First thought as a non-DIYer is I gotta
Yeah.
and I want to pay him to do it for me. That's just how a
Yeah.
lot of us think. So when you're giving tips, they need to be so mind-blowing that people are like, oh my gosh, this person is the expert in this area. And now I want their help.
Hmm.
I want the VIP. I want the done for you service. I want to work with them directly. So that's all I do. I give out tips that people can resonate with. Like I know
Mm.
scammy companies come to hotels and they do these auditions and then they tell your child, oh my gosh, you're brilliant. We want you in our program. It's only $3,000. You have to pay within the next 24 hours. That's what they do. I happen to know this. And I know that a lot of the people that are looking to get into the business have already experienced that for themselves. So
Mm,
I just get on social media and I say, aren't you tired of hotel auditions where they say that they want your child and it's $3,000? Their ears are perked up because they've been through that. And then they're like, okay,
yeah.
I'm tired of that. What can you do about it? And then I'm like, that's not the real way. Grab my course. And it just positions me as the expert. And most people don't want to do the work themselves. So not only
Mm-hmm.
have they found me and they know that I have the answers, but now they're like, I don't want the course. You are the one that has the information. You are the one that can help me. And I want to pay you. My course is I just changed the price, but it was $200 versus
Yeah.
$1,000. And every single time, if I do 100 calls, 99 of them are like, oh no, I don't want 200. I want 2,000 because I'm the one that knows what I'm doing and they want me.
Let's talk about scaling, right? Because you were able to scale this outside of Birmingham, Alabama to something all around the nation, and I think different part of the world. How
Yes.
did you do that?
So everything that we do is remote. So that
Mm-hmm.
makes it a lot easier where I don't have to show up in person. And I built it that way, where everything that we did was able to be done remotely, and that we had really like there's a secret sauce the way I do things. And people like I know that there's agencies that get mad and they're like, how is I don't understand how she's doing that. There's a secret to how we do it. But basically everything is done remotely. The only thing that has to be done in their city or where they live is the photo
Photo
shoot.
shoots, yeah.
We started doing that as a third party. So we book the photo shoot. Like if someone signs up in Atlanta, I already have an Atlanta photographer. Someone signs up in New York, I have
Boom.
a photographer. If someone signs up in a place that we've never had anybody before, like I don't know where, because I think we've covered everything, but like say Iowa, maybe. We
Yeah.
go and outsource a photographer in that area. We let them know what we do, that we're kind of a middleman, and then we set the shoot up so that
Wow.
we can go straight to the shoot. And then the rest of the stuff is done digitally, so where my VAs can do it. So I was able to scale that way because we just have people all over that are able to do the
That's
work.
amazing. I
Yeah.
think that's amazing you build an operation like that. What's your long-term vision for this?
So right now I am trying to, settle my way out and kind of back up so that it can run on a day-to-day without me. I'm not quite there
Mm-hmm.
yet. The last part of that is the actually bringing in of the money. So I am the sales mastermind and I get on all my own
Mm,
calls. So literally today I had a call with the team where I just hired a sales team where they will be, it'll be 10 people that are trained on all my stuff. That will be
nice.
all of my sales calls. So it won't just be me. And I
Yeah.
have thousands and thousands of leads that haven't even been touched because I haven't been able to handle it. So long-term goal is just to kind of remove myself from the day-to-day so that it runs without me. And then focus on the new company that I just started, which is
Yeah,
social.
yeah, yeah. We're gonna have to have you come back to talk about that new
Yeah,
company.
for sure.
So, so to wrap things up, what is one small biz tips you would share with any entrepreneurs listening to this they can help them grow their business, maybe go from that 6 figure to 7 figure? What is that one thing you think that helps you?
I would say don't be afraid to be a disruptor, to start something new, to
Mm,
challenge what's already out there. I think anyone that is successful, they're doing something different. It's not
yeah,
they're doing it exactly the way it's always been done. And even with the way I do things, people think I'm an agent and they're like, "Well, what are you an agent? Are you a manager?" And I'm not. Like I there's literally no name for what I do. People are like, "Well, what do you call it?" I'm like, "I'm not a talent coach, I'm not a talent scout. I'm the model maker." And I made that word up. So I found like a middle ground where I can connect
yeah.
agencies and the talent. And that's
Wow.
thrive and that's why I do so well. So don't be afraid to push the limits. Don't listen to people who
Mm,
are going to tell you that the idea is bad or their cousin, second cousin, twice removed on their grandma Joe's side tried that and it didn't work. Like, I'm so sorry for her, but it's going to work for me. Like, don't
that's
have
it.
a plan B. I always tell people to go after your plan A because it either works or it has to work.
Or
It has to work or
it
it has
has
to
to
work.
work, it has to work. I love
So
it.
don't be afraid to try something new because that's where the money is.
How do people get in touch with you, your team, if they have kids and like, yo, I want the model maker and her team to help me?
Yeah, so they can go if they've heard this and they're like, I want her, I want to go ahead and sign up. You can go to kidmodelmaker.com/offers. But if you
Hmm.
want to like get on the phone with my team and talk through things in your specific situation, you can go to kaylamodelmaker.com and book a call on there or find me on Instagram.
Fantastic. Guys, check out Kayla. She's amazing, as you can see, full of energy and super knowledgeable. Thank you for coming in, Kayla. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me.